Mm-hmm.
This is SBR's Football Betting Daily.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak, and this is the Audible NFL football show that is normally hosted by Jimmy the Bag. Jimmy the Bag, though, is in Canada right now and having some power issues. He has no power, so last minute they asked me if I could fill in for him with just a few hours to prepare. You know, they were like, there's no way you can do this, Peter. What are you, some kind of like a sports betting media superhero? And the answer is yes. On 2 hours notice, I can definitely fill in. We're going to have a great show. Donnie Rightside is guesting here. Whale Capper is on vacation, I believe, so he's not going to be joining us. Donnie Rightside, we're going to kill NFL Week 16. I have a feeling.
Yes, 1 hour show to get it all done, Pete. You're right. Look, give yourself some credit, Pete. You are a gambling savant. This is why you're here. That's why they, go to the bullpen and bring in the lefty out of the pen. And here we go right away. We'll have some fun over the next hour. See if we can pick some winners out there.
We're not allowed to go over? Can we go over like we usually do?
We can go 3 hours.
Okay,
this could be an all-night affair. Yes.
So let's just quickly take about 90 seconds to, and actually I can't find the, here we go. Here's the link. Okay. Donnie Rightside, last week when I was subbing in for Jimmy the Bag, the plays that I wound up giving and making overall were great. I can't believe I let you guys talk me off of Atlanta. That was such an obvious play. I don't even remember who talked me off of it, but we had a great read last week on the NFL in general, and the picks that I gave in the show overall were winners. And as usual, the picks that I liked, that I was leaning towards, that I didn't have the balls to give, killed it. I can't even remember that show. Who was it that I was listening to that talked me off of Atlanta? Was it you? I don't even remember.
It was me, you, and Whale Capper. Whale Capper usually would come in for the last half hour. What did he do? Come on, Pete. You let him talk you off a play? Come on.
Who talked me off Atlanta last week as an official play?
I don't think it was me because I'm the ultimate Arizona hater at this point.
I don't think it was. One other thing, I don't know if you remember this, Donnie Rightside, but we all liked, I don't know if you did, but we all liked the Bills last week, right? Remember?
Yes, correct.
Did you
actually like the Bills over as well. Yes.
Right. And there was one commenter from last week's show. I don't know if you remember it, but he said the Bills just don't cover as favorites. They were 2-point favorites or 2.5-point favorites, and he predicted a final score of 14-13. He actually predicted that.
Did he really? That's good. Now that's good.
A guy who predicted that a team would win, but as a 2-point favorite might have a hard time covering, and he was dead on. That just stuck in my mind when I was looking over the final scores, and I remember that. I want to go watch the other show because I'm sure that I saw that. There was a guy who said that the Bills just have a hard time covering as a favorite, even when they're a 2-point favorite. But overall, last week went very well, and of course, we'll talk about all those teams again this week. I guess the one big dud from last week, though, was that the Rams did not roll Philly, did they?
No, the Rams did not roll Philly. The Rams did the opposite of roll. The Rams got rolled over by Philadelphia for most of that portion of the game. I didn't see it coming. I'm a Philly. Look, I got my Eagles stuff on right now. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, and of course, last week, as we talked about, getting the best line made a huge difference in the Jets game, in the Packers game, and this week we've already seen quite a few of these lines move significantly, so we'll see what you have to say about any of this and all of this. Donnie Rightside, are you ready?
I'm ready to go, Pete.
All right, you're ready to go. Let's jump into it. Okay, first game, Washington against Tennessee, right? Now, the Skins beat the Jags last week, and Tennessee, they rolled the Giants. Tennessee might be a little bit undervalued right now. I'm not sure, though, that we want to lay 10 points now with them. The market might be catching up. It might be a time where we're buying high here on Tennessee as a double-digit favorite. Can Josh Johnson do it again for Washington? I don't know. It feels like a letdown spot for Washington, but with such a low-scoring game. With such a low total and an expected low-scoring game, which I think is appropriate. I'm not looking to bet the over here. Not sure I want to lay 10 points with Tennessee. Maybe once again it's a spot where we think about the underdog, team total under in a game where we want to fade the underdog and it's a low total, but we don't want to lay that many points. We did that with Miami last week, actually. I did that, and the game wound up soaring over, but the Miami team total under cashed. What's your take on Washington, Tennessee, Donnie Rightside?
It's an interesting one because you get a little bit of a bump last week if you're Washington because, at this point of the year, Pete, some teams just out of it, dead and out of it. I still think Washington is out of it. I think their fan base still thinks they're out of it. But record-wise, they're not. So they're still going to put in that effort during the week. They're not going to hang it up because why would you keep sending out, your banged-up, injured offensive linemen if you weren't technically out of it, which they aren't. So I think they're going to give a pretty good effort. But the one thing you have to like if you are backing Tennessee is usually the MO is, boy, it's Tennessee. I don't know if I want to lay double digits as a favorite with Tennessee. Well, the last two football games, Pete, we had Jacksonville 30-9 winner. That's a 21-point cover. And then you had 17-0 versus the Giants. So you have back-to-back double-digit covers, which shows they can get after it, get it done. But at this point in the season right now, I look for more, there's no style points. There's no like, boy, let's really get our offense going. You're just looking for the win and getting out of Dodge. I see a lower scoring type of an affair. And right now, Pete, I'm not going to be playing this game. I don't even want to add it to my picks there. I'm not really interested in laying 10.5 points with the Titans, even though they just did cover back-to-back games. They showed the ability to do that. I'll lean on a lower scoring under game where Tennessee's in control of the football game, but I don't know necessarily if it's going to be a comfortable play for me to lay over 10 here.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I was thinking. Do I want to lay 10? No. Do I want to take the over or the under here? No. But maybe the Washington team total under, which right now would be about maybe 14. You might be able to get 14 and a half with Washington. What about that? The Washington team total under.
Yeah, no, Washington team total under should be in play in this one because I don't know what their offense is going to show. Now down another tight end. So at least you can say, Vernon Davis is out there. Now he's going down to Jeremy Sprinkle as their main option, it seems, out of the backfield. One thing we do know, Pete, Tennessee is going to bring a slower type of offense. They're going to run the football, which helps out their defense quite a bit. You saw it last week. They pitched a shutout. The week before, not a high-powered Jacksonville team, Pete, 9 points. So that's 4.5 points combined technically per game over the last 2 weeks. I like it, Pete. I like the under for the Washington Redskins here.
Yeah, I mean, last week they did score 16 against Jacksonville. Not bad. Give him a little bit of a round of applause for that. What's your take on Josh Johnson? You think he came back and had a nice game, getting them an outright win as an underdog, and now it's sort of the sophomore slump with his return to the lineup. Second game, he's gonna.
Exactly. I like where you're going with that, Pete, because sometimes you don't have a lot of film on the guy. He just came in, ran around like he was playing Madden in the weeks previous there versus the New York Giants. Now he gets to play a full game. You see what he likes to do, what he doesn't like to do, and you're going on a back-to-back road game versus another good defensive effort. Yes, I think he comes back down to earth in this one.
All right, Miley, if you give me,
I don't even know if he was high up to begin with. Anyway,
yeah, so. Right. No, but I mean, he got credit where credit is due. He played a good enough game to get them an outright win as an underdog last week. If you gave me a free play on this game right now, I'd wait for the Washington team total and take a shot with the under as long as I could get 14. All right, let's move on to a Baltimore and the Chargers. The Ravens, of course, are going cross-country. The Chargers doing great ATS. The big question here is how will Phillip Rivers match up against this awesome defense from Baltimore? Baltimore, of course, has been doing well since Lamar Jackson took over as a starting quarterback. There are a bunch of games that I am kind of liking this week, but the 2 Saturday games have me a little bit nervous. I'm not sure what I think about this. Chargers doing great ATS, extra rest, so maybe we like the Chargers here. Baltimore going cross-country, but with that defense, I'm just not sure if I want to give them points. What's your take on this one, Donnie Rightside?
Yeah, what's interesting, Pete? When you try to take a look at the game as opposed to just capping it and saying like, who has the better defense, offense, whatever it is, Baltimore absolutely must have this game. If the Chargers lose this game, it's not really going to be that big of a devastation because they're already going to the playoffs.
Right.
Now, having said that, the Chargers, to me, Peter, are in a great spot. You're right. Extra rested. Huge win in their previous game, which they played on a Thursday night in Kansas City. I don't want to say they're playing with house money, but they still have now an outside shot at maybe winning the division because let's not forget that Kansas City is going to go to Seattle. They're going to have a tough one in that environment, and they're getting healthier. Looks like Keenan,
Allen.
The name slipping my head right now. I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, Keenan Allen's going to be coming back for this football game. It looks like he's a game-time decision. He's going to give it a go. Melvin Gordon hasn't been there for a couple weeks. He's going to give it a go in this game. Brandon Mebane coming back to beef up that defensive line. He looks like he's going to give it a go. They're in a great spot. I mean, look at Baltimore traveling across the country. Yeah. Already a shorter work week versus a team that has extra rest. And for some reason, I keep looking at this game going, why do I try to gravitate myself towards Baltimore playing really good defense, hanging in with anybody, went into, a couple weeks ago to play Kansas City, held their own and probably should have won that football game, been playing good with the rookie quarterback. But this line just seems to, the line seems too short for where we're at here.
Right.
A great football team, the Chargers, to me. More rest in this game, just has to win by a touchdown. Rookie quarterback on the road. It just screams Chargers to me, Pete. How about you?
Yeah, and also Mike Williams was a revelation last week as well. So even if Allen isn't back, if Allen comes back, now you have a synergistic effect. Again, it makes me nervous. Yeah, it's just I think I have a giving points to an elite defense bias. You know what I mean? It's just so hard for me to do. Yep. How about this, Donnie Rightside? How about maybe a shot? Total is low, which is understandable because obviously when Baltimore is involved, you're going to expect a strong defensive performance for them. Maybe we think that the travel spot impacts their defense a little bit and that the Chargers can put up a few more points than expected. Maybe Lamar Jackson breaks off a run or two and the game goes over the low total. What about that, Donnie Rightside? Have I maybe found the right way to bet this game over 42?
Yeah, I think you might have. I mean, look, Denver is no. If we take a look at the past couple games synopsis for them, Denver is not the highest scoring team that you get in the shootouts with. That game's 23-22. They hang 45 on Arizona, 33 on Pittsburgh, who's playing upper echelon defense right now. You just saw the way they handled the New England Patriots. Cincinnati, they put up 26 and then 29 at Kansas City. I think Baltimore is going to be able to put up some points also. I think it's a little bit cheap, the 42, because, Pete, you're right. We're saying, boy, Baltimore's defense, and they're going to want to run the football. But even when you try to take it what Baltimore has been doing, Pete, over the past couple weeks, look, this Baltimore offense run behind a rookie quarterback isn't stalling out. 20, 24, 26, 34, 24. They're getting into the 20s. If you can say right now, I think both of these teams could get into the 20s, which I think they can, you're going to pull down an over. I agree.
Yeah, and if if it is a lower scoring game to start, but the Chargers get out to a big lead, maybe Baltimore quits defensively and you can get a backdoor cover on the over. It's now, but the thing is, what do you make the line move? It opened at 45, now down to 42 or 41.5. That's a massive line move there for a total in the NFL.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. But and you're also looking at it as well, Pete, is like Melvin Gordon's going to come back. That's got to be a jolt of offense where now the defense who says, look, we're a really staunch defense. Maybe we didn't have to worry about him. You're going to have to worry about him. And again, you get the full complement of wide receivers if Keenan Allen does come back. You're having another start for a rookie quarterback who's used to it. Maybe he's seen a lot of these coverages. And we're talking about a stadium, Pete, that a rookie quarterback going into it, not exactly the loudest environment in Carson, California. I think he'll be fine there. And you're right. I think this game lends to more of an over than staying under the total here.
All right, so that's it for the two Saturday games. Now let's take an opportunity to check the comments to see if people can help us out. Last week, definitely the comments helped put me on the Miami team total under in the Minnesota game because I was too afraid to take Minnesota minus all those points. That was obviously a mistake, but I cashed my play anyway. Miami team total under. Let's see what we have here. Comments, Gambling God says, gun to my head, I say 2017 Chargers. So that's a lean to the under and to the Ravens. My leans right now, I would be agreeing with you. I would be leaning over slightly and Chargers slightly. But Gambling God's gun to his head, slight lean to the Ravens and to the under. Let me see. What else do we have here? Other comments. Gambling God says Chargers win. Ricky Levine, Chargers. Sean MCK says, question I asked myself, do the Chargers actually need to win this? Not really. Address that once again, Donnie Rightside.
The Charge. I mean, look, they still have a shot. As long as you're not physically out of it, they still have a shot to win the division. So there is something to play for here.
Nick O says Chargers due for a dud. Rivers will throw an INT or two. All right.
Hey, look, the Ravens. To be truthful in this, the Ravens have been one of the tougher caps for me, Pete, since Lamar Jackson has come into the equation. Because I'm just waiting for I say he throws for 130 yards a game. When does it catch up? Well, apparently not, I guess. So, I mean, it's tough for me to read.
I mean, they've been covering. They almost covered last game as well. They were just given too many points. So I'm leaning over. Maybe here we are again. Me with my friggin' leans, not having the balls to give them. I'm definitely leaning over. I'll think about it a little bit more, though. And
42, 41.5 at BetOnline, Pete. It's getting lower. I'm liking it even more and more by the second. Yeah.
I know. All right, let's move on to the Sunday games. Let's start with Houston, Philly. This is an interesting one. I actually already bet this one, Donnie Rightside. I did bet Houston, and I think I got a good line. I got 2.5 because I don't think I don't know when I bet this, but I'm not seeing 2.5 anywhere right now. It seems
gone. They're gone. You're the sharp. You moved it right off that number, man. Congratulations.
Donnie, I'm not the sharp. I'm not even a sharp. I'm a guy who bets, here and there. I didn't move that number, but I'm glad to see that the line moved in my direction. Obviously Philly beat the Rams, right? Whale Capper thought that Philly was going to get absolutely slaughtered last week. Philly won outright. Is this a letdown spot here? And, maybe for Philly. And, Houston's just a very resilient club, right? Deshaun Watson, very, very impressive. I'm a little bit concerned about DeAndre Hopkins' health. I've been reading, so I'm not very good at reading injury reports and reading between the lines. Do you think DeAndre Hopkins is going to be limited here, or is he going to be full strength, ready to go, and don't worry about it?
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine, Pete. Right. I don't think this, these guys are tough football players, questionable. They take maintenance rest all week long. He's going to be ready to go in this game, and it's a game that Houston absolutely needs the same way the Philadelphia Eagles do. Now, that was a great win last week in a tough spot, in a short work week for the Eagles. Shocked the world, so to speak. Now come home to a place where they usually play well over the past couple of years. Nick Foles has invigorated the locker room. They're having fun. They got shrines to Nick Foles in their locker rooms. But this is going to be a tough game for the Eagles. But I actually do agree with the line movement. I agree, Pete, that the Eagles should be favored here just from what the matchup will be, because you're also looking from a Houston perspective, back-to-back road games. They were in a slugfest with the New York Jets on the road, and the Philadelphia Eagles are a better football team than the New York Jets overall when they're playing well. Jordan Hicks coming back as the linebacker after missing the last 4 games for the Eagles, that's going to be a boon. You also have Lamar Miller, probably going to be a game-time decision, so you might be down a hobbled starting running back on top of it. But the one thing you do have, Pete, is DeAndre Hopkins going against a secondary that doesn't really deal too well with top-flight wide receivers. You say, well, last week what I watched, the Rams still threw for a lot of yards, but DeAndre Hopkins presents a lot of problems where he can go deep, he can go intermediate, he can go short, he can run after the catch, he can go up and get that 50-50 ball. The Eagles don't have anybody in the secondary that can match up with that. That's going to be the issue. But the one thing I do like out of the Eagles offense, Pete, that wasn't there under Carson Wentz, he's a talented quarterback. He holds the ball long, strip sack fumbles. If we know anything from the Houston front line, is they're going to get after it. J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney, they will put pressure. But last week, no sacks on Nick Foles because he's getting the football out quicker. I think that'll be the difference in the game. I think the Eagles win this football game and win a close one, which is kind of interesting because usually in the past, I've been more likely to rip at my Eagles than pick them to win the football game.
Oh, so you don't like Houston then, plus getting 2.5 even?
I think the Eagles should be correct. I think the Eagles are correct, the correct play here to win in a lower score, not a lower scoring game. I shouldn't have said that, a close scoring game here.
Yeah, see, you said everything that I'm concerned about here, which is just the health of DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but if he's out, that's obviously that's a massive loss to Houston. If he's in 100%, I'd be thinking Houston team total over, if not necessarily to get the win and cover, at the very least to put up points against this very vulnerable secondary, right?
Yeah, no, and there's some good matchups here, too, because Deshaun Watson's a very athletic quarterback. The Eagles have a really good front four, but he's going to be able to get away and buy that extra second or two for DeAndre Hopkins, Demaryius Thomas to get open. And the same thing saying on the opposite side of the ball, where Houston is going to get pressure because they do it against everybody, regardless of the offensive line. Nick Foles gets it out quicker, which leads me into my next one, Pete. Earlier in the week, I gave out the over 45 in this football game, which now sits at, I believe, still 46s at most outlets. I still like that. You're going to get a day, Pete, cooler day, 43, 44 degrees, which is normal up here on the Northeast, but not a lot of windy conditions here. And I think both of these offenses will be able to make enough plays. Both teams should get into the 20s. I think they're going to take down somewhere around like a 27-24 type ball game, I'm predicting here, Pete.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about as well. I guess I'm just concerned that Foles, after stepping in for Wentz and getting the big win, just like Johnson, maybe it's a little bit of a letdown spot for him.
For Nick Foles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's riding high, Pete. He's used to this. And I think the Eagles are actually playing with house money at this point. I do. Because I still don't think the Eagles are going to get into the playoffs. I think Dallas should be able to handle their business, and Minnesota should be able to handle theirs as well. I just see it as one of those games almost like pressure-free. Go out there and play and see what happens at the end of the day. If we win, fantastic. We live another week. If we lose, well, we weren't supposed to make the playoffs anyway.
All right, I am going to make a Houston team total over an official pick. I'm not going to quote a line now. I'll tweet it out and find the line to quote then. I am leaning Houston. I'm leaning the over. I'm agreeing with you, Donnie, right side. 45.5 is still available at one book. I would be leaning over anyway, and I will take the Houston team total over as my first official pick, although if Hopkins is out or hobbled, obviously that's not going to be a good play, and I'll probably have to eat a loss there. All right, now let's move on. The Jacksonville Jaguars against Miami, right? Jacksonville lost last week outright as a big favorite. No shock there. I just feel like Jacksonville with until they get a real quarterback, a real legit quarterback, they're always going to be this team with a strong defense that's going to disappoint, either ATS or losing outright as a big favorite. Miami got blown out at Minnesota though after 3 straight covers. Miami is still mathematically alive in the playoffs, and I'm looking at this here. I'm thinking, the Jags are just kind of a disappointing, pathetic team. Now they're getting points. Now's when you want to bet on them. What do you think about the Jags plus 3.5, Donnie, right side?
Yeah, and look, it's funny when you look at, the dichotomy of a home team versus an away team. You would almost blink and nobody would believe you unless it really happened that the Miami Dolphins are 6-1 at home and 6-1 ATS at home against the spread. Ryan Tannehill banged up, ankle injury, shoulder injury, still not right. And yes, you can run against the Miami Dolphins. You know what? I never thought I would say this, Pete. If Blake Bortles played in this football game, I would level the boom on Jacksonville, even though Bortles is an awful road quarterback, but he's much better than what they're getting currently at quarterback right now. Leonard Fournette is going to be activated and playing in this football game. I know there was talk about maybe you should shut him down since it doesn't matter. Doesn't look like they're going to do that. Jacksonville's still going to bring a pretty stingy defense in here when they want to play, which over the past couple weeks they actually have wanted to play. but I think the Dolphins still a little better overall football team because I think at home, Tannehill will be able to move the ball, and I don't trust anything that Jacksonville's doing on offense right now. Leonard Fournette, as I said, should be able to run. The Miami Dolphins can't stop the run, but something going against a team with Cody Kessler at quarterback, some legendarily low numbers, and it's only 3.5. If you're going to tell me Jacksonville, Pete, was getting like 5.5 or 6 points, I might lean Jacksonville. But the way the Dolphins play at home, the way a quarterbacking I'm getting out of Kessler, to me, it's going to be the Miami Dolphins in this game. And I see 3.5s out there. I'll take the 3.5 right now and lay it.
Really? You want Miami, huh? Let's see what the line is. Yeah, it opened at 4.5. It's got and money's come in on Jacksonville. Down. What'd you say?
Yeah, no, the line's coming down. You're right. It is.
God, I was looking at this game. I was like, I've seen this so many times. You know what I'm saying? Jacksonville as a 7.5 point favorite. You always fade them. Then when they're looking horrible, coming back the next week as a modest road underdog, that's when you take them. But I'm just looking at Jacksonville's ATS record. It's just so bad. Let me count up the losses in their last 8 or so games. I see 2 pushes, 1 win, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ATS losses. 1 ATS win in their last 9 games. Unbelievable. But I'm definitely leaning Jacksonville here. I'm going to have to think about it a little bit. Let's move on. It's going to be hard for me to pull the trigger, but that's my lean. Definitely my lean is Jacksonville. Now let's talk about Cincinnati Cleveland. This has, we've seen a huge line movement here, and Jimmy the Bag was talking about this earlier in the week that he wished that he had gone official with a play on Cleveland. They opened as officially 7.5. I thought I saw 6 earlier, very early opening line.
I thought there might have been a 6.5 earlier. You're right.
Yeah.
But I think when me and Jimmy did the show on Tuesday, Pete, it was 7, and he was saying, you're right. He was saying it right off the bat, like, I think I need to go ahead with this Cleveland game, and he would have been right if he did at that point.
He would have. Right now, the best line on Cleveland would be 8.5 at the Greek, but everyone else is up at 9, 9.5 Pinnacle already at 10. This is again, Bengals popped open last week. Cleveland an extra rest day feels like a good spot for Cleveland. Just not sure if I want to lay this number here. What's your take on this one? This is going to be a pass for me for sure.
Yeah, I know lines, like you say, well, that line's there for a reason. We all like to use that and say, well, they're favored by 9 or 7.5 or 10 because that's what it's supposed to be. I think Cleveland is the better play here overall, but it just gets back to saying, like, Cleveland is learning to win football games, Pete, not learning to blow teams out or put teams away. I know they won fairly easily a couple weeks ago for Cincinnati, and anything Hugh Jackson touches turns to mush, but this team hasn't given up. They played the Chargers tough. They beat the Oakland Raiders. Not a great football team, the Raiders, but they still showed a propensity. I know they lost another wide receiver in Tyler Boyd, but Mixon's still going to be healthy for this game. We'll see what some of these injuries on defense work out by Sunday, but it comes down to, I like Cleveland that's playing that feisty underdog role, getting 3.5 at home, a pickup game.
Right.
I don't know if I like them laying almost double digits, so I'll stand on taking the Cincinnati Bengals in this one. If you can get 9.5 or 10, I'm just going to lean on that out of principle right now. Won't be playing the game, but just asking for an analysis on that. I'm not ready to lay that many points with the Cleveland Browns here, Pete.
Yeah, you can get 10 minus 119 right now at Pinnacle. 10 minus 119. The line is really, really headed up there. All right, let's see. So as of right now, recapping, I've only got one official play, Houston team total over. I will quote that one when the line comes out. But my leans would be so far Jacksonville Jaguars plus the points. Jacksonville Jaguars plus the points and maybe the over in the Baltimore Chargers game. So far, those are my only leans. Let's scan some comments and then move on. The next game is a very interesting one, and I think I might have a strong opinion on that one. We'll see. Let's see. Noob Cybot says Jackson revenge game for the Browns. Blood in the water. Wow. Yeah. So it's an revenge game. Ricky Levine saying it's a stay away game, and Nick O says Jags threw in the towel, Dolphins or nothing. You get that sense about this team? They've thrown in the towel. See, I think their defense is going to come to play every game, and it's just a matter of getting points to them instead of giving points. You think they've thrown in the towel? Not to go back to that game.
Who are we talking about? Cincinnati or what
Jags,
game are we talking about?
Sorry, the Jags. Nick O said the Jags threw in the towel.
Yeah, no, you know what, Pete? It might have been a little bit different for me if Jackson was at home again, because you sure gets turned on by your home fans and you play for them. Now that you're on the road, I wouldn't say they'd give it because they're not even injured on defense, Pete. I don't think they've given up, but I just don't think you get enough out of the offense when the defense says, "Man, we might have to score a touchdown just to stay in this ball game." That's tough for anybody out there.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, let me see other comments coming in. All right, now let's move on. Buffalo, New England. Donnie Rightside. Guess who gave New England season win total under 11.5 in the beginning of the season? That footage is still out there. If anyone wants to pour through the archival footage.
We have footage.
Archival footage
on it. Yes.
Do you remember when I said that, Donnie? I don't know if you were in any of the videos.
I do.
Yep.
I think I was sitting right next to you along with Jimmy up on the stage as well. Yeah.
Yep. I told a couple of my, my plays that people, gave me some crap for early in the season. Colts season win total over 6.5. That one cashed. I also gave the Giants, which was a bad call, but I did give under 11.5 Patriots season win total, and that one has now cashed. Here they are. 13.5 point favorite here against Buffalo. Now, Buffalo, of course, I thought they were a great bet last week. They didn't cover. They did win. I'm thinking that Buffalo getting this many points might be the best play of the card, or at least up there. Is there something I'm not seeing? Is Buffalo not a great play here, catching what? 13.5. You could buy to 14 relatively cheaply. Is Buffalo not a great play here, getting 13.5?
I have New England here, Pete. I have New England. I pegged this game at 31-10 in this game for New England Patriots. Now, some people look, artificial surface stuff. Oh, my goodness, Josh Gordon isn't there. What are we going to do? We didn't look good the last 2 weeks. The one thing that you can basically, paint into a masterpiece is New England at home in December, and then throw a rookie quarterback in there with a team that's not going to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not so much about the New England offense just going up and down the field against Buffalo, because they have a good defense, and Buffalo hasn't quit. McDermott's done a great job, and I'm a big fan of Josh Allen at quarterback. I think he's going to be pretty good. He's shown a lot of moxie out there, doing it basically all by himself with literally no wide receivers and no running backs, apparently, in that New York Jets game. But I think they're going to run into a tough little buzzsaw here, because now you're getting the New England Patriots as that, that write-off. Oh, look at them, lost 2 straight games. The dynasty is all over, when legitimately, if they win this football game versus Buffalo and Houston drops the game to the Philadelphia Eagles, they're getting a bye week and another home game in the playoffs. That's just right around the corner. I think this is a get-right football game. I think after last week, they were stunned a little bit. I think they get back and grind it out. I just see as if there's a Buffalo team total, I would love the under in this situation. I don't have them getting over 10 points here, which is why I pegged it around 31-10. I think the New England Patriots will be able to move the football at home, put this team away, get the good vibes going, and then if the Houston Texans end up losing to the Philadelphia Eagles, hey, look, there they are, Super Bowl favorites again, New England Patriots.
I hear you. I mean, obviously, the Pats off of 2 road losses now come in here, rookie quarterback on the road for Buffalo. But here's a comment that kind of says it all. Nick O says Gordon is gone, no weapons for Brady. Brady will unleash his anger. But if you look, I mean, as much as you want to go postal on something or someone or a group of people, if you don't have the gun, you can't do it, right? If you don't have the weapons, you can't make it happen. Does Brady have the weapons to put up 31 points reliably?
I think he does. I mean, he's done it in the past. He's done it with guys that nobody even knows who their names are. If Gronkowski is out there, and he's not even the same guy he was before, if Julian Edelman's out there, they'll be able to move the football. And we all know they have like 17 running backs that they just pull off the street and can gain 150 yards at any time. I just look at it as one of those games where the rookie's going to get a tough baptism going into here. But look, if the Bills go in and score 28 points with Josh Allen, they really have something for the future once they sign some playmakers up. But you don't have enough playmakers to effectively move the ball as a rookie quarterback versus a Bill Belichick-led defense. That's where I see the trouble. If the game doesn't cover, it would be, to me, Pete, where maybe 24 from New England and 13 from Buffalo, something like that. But I don't see this game coming into the fourth quarter in doubt. So I see it as Josh Allen's going to have a shot to backdoor cover the 13.5, then as opposed to saying the Patriots need to score more points to actually get to that total. I think it's going to be one of those ways like that slow burn. 7-3 first quarter, 14-3. Then the Patriots do their double up at the half, add a field goal before the half, then a touchdown after the half, and the game is basically all catch up from your rookie quarterback at that point. That's just the way I see this game playing out. I love the New England Patriots by 2 touchdowns here.
All right, well, it's definitely gotten bet up. It opened at 10.5. It's up to 13.5. A lot of strong opinions back and forth here. Let's see. We have where are these comments coming in? Hold on one second. Nick O says Bills score 15 points on the road. Pats is the play -14, but Antonio Jones says I'm on Buffalo money line. Buffalo money line for the outright win. They got Brady's number. All right, I will. And then here you go. Andrei Kovalenko says Pats win, but no reason for them to cover. Yeah, it is kind of a situation that has backdoor possibly written all over it. And Vegas Gun says it's more likely to hit 14 or 13 in this game. Yeah, this also might be a play that lands dead on the number at 14. And if you beat the 14 number, then you got to win. All right. You've convinced me. I'll stay off it for right now. Next game, Atlanta, Carolina. Cam Newton is out. I was talking about last week. I was like, Cam Newton's obviously injured. I wound up making the Panthers first half and full game an official play anyway. So did Jimmy the Bag, and we were right all around. We took the Panthers plus the points, but I was also right that Cam Newton was obviously injured. We obviously saw that, and now he is officially out. The Panthers are still mathematically alive. Falcons. Cannot believe, I don't even remember how I got talked off that one last week. I like the over, the Falcons, and the team total over for the Falcons, and those would have been 3 units that I could have stacked on my NFL record this year. But I didn't do it, and so I don't get them. Now the Panthers are an underdog here, and, man, I'm not sure. I mean, it's a low total. I was thinking maybe a shot with the under. They're still the Falcons, though. This is a game where, Atlanta did make their statement win last week, and now what are we going to get from here? Not exactly sure. What are we going to get from Heineke? That's another question. What's your take on this one? Donnie right side.
Yeah, it's hard. I actually wish Carolina had a more seasoned quarterback, and it wouldn't even have to be a great quarterback to sort of get on board with the Carolina Panthers in this game. To me right now, even though the way it's playing out, I still think the Carolina Panthers are the right move here. They've played very well at home on the season, and you could argue, Pete, which I've talked to Jimmy on Tuesday, done a couple shows, that if Cam Newton had snapped his leg in half 6 games ago, the Carolina Panthers would be going to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That's how bad Cam Newton was. And I was on it too, Pete. I had 6.5 minus 121 on the game in Monday night. They go up 7-0, and I'm watching this, and even at like the half, I'm going, Cam Newton has absolutely nothing left in the tank, and they're not going to pull him. I have no idea how I'm going to win this game. If you would have told me that, we'd score 9 points total and 2 points from the defense, I'd have said New Orleans would have blown them out of the building. That's how good Carolina's defense was in that game. And look, Julio Jones on the opposite side for Atlanta, a game-time decision. Mm-hmm. They're not going anywhere in the playoffs, so maybe he doesn't feel right. And if you take Julio Jones out of this offense, they're going to have a tough time moving the football against Carolina, even though one of the Shaq Thompson is on IR, one of their linebackers. But overall, they're still a pretty healthy defense. Right now, still, if you're going to give me 3, I know it was 3.5, even reached 4 once those line changes came out. I'm still going to lean Carolina because I know how bad Atlanta is on the road. Julio Jones is banged up. And anything, a jugs machine back there is better than Cam Newton at quarterback. So I consider Heineke an upgrade on their cornerback situation. I just wish he had a little bit more seasoning, Pete. That's all.
Yeah, another play that I'm so frustrated that I let people talk me off of, if you remember last week, was the under in the Carolina game. We talked about it. I said if you like Carolina plus the points, you almost certainly like the under, that super high total. The line got bet down. That was one of the reasons why I thought that Carolina was a good play. And I feel the same way here. I'm leaning under, and if you like Carolina plus the points, you're almost definitely leaning under, right?
Yes, I would assume that, because they are going to lean on the ground game, which they should have done all last week. Right. And they're going to lean on short passing game because now they have a quarterback. They might be able to extend it a couple play action passes, but make no mistake about it, Pete. The way you beat Atlanta, you grind them out on the ground. And I think they'll do that to protect the young quarterback. Definitely plays to an under for me as well. Yeah.
All right, I'll add this one. Donnie right side. I'm going to add the under. Now, it opened at, let me see where it opened. It opened at 47.5. Obviously, I missed that one. It's all the way down to a 44.5 or 44 market wide. But I'm going to go to Pinnacle, and I'm going to buy to 45, and I'm going to take under 45 minus 119. This might be a mistake with Atlanta. Atlanta, Carolina, under 45 minus 119. I'll take that one. I'll make that one an official play. Atlanta still has a scary offense in general, though. But after last week, you think they might just come in here and just be like, all right, we don't care at all about doing anything, proving anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, because you might get one of those game plans, Pete, which, NFL would like to use. Say, hey, look, they got a rookie quarterback over there, a young kid that's not ready to play. Let's not just make the mistake. Let's let him make the mistake. So, therefore, you're not going to go guns a-blazing on offense. And how many times has Julio Jones, who's been banged up or injured, and let's just say he's a game-time decision, Pete, and he does go. Oh, look, he just made a nice 37-yard catch and landed on his side. He's out for the rest of the ball game. Right. Those things all play into a factor for me. So, I like it. I like the under 45, Pete, where you're going there.
All right. In the meantime, a lot more comments coming in on this Pats game. Let's just, I don't mind bouncing back a little bit, but Antonio Jones, Brady's been beat up all season. Allen's going to make too many plays for TB12 to catch up. It's time for him to really consider retirement. What's your take on that? Allen's going to make plays. Brady's banged up. You agree or disagree?
No, Allen is going to make plays. I mean, that's what he does, but he's also going to make bad plays that are going to throw into that. He's going to get a strip sack fumble. He's going to throw in the double coverage across his body over the middle. That's what rookie quarterbacks do, and that's what coordinators like Bill Belichick do like to draw into and bait you into making those throws. These are one of those games I like, because those comments come out. They anger people like Tom Brady. The regime is over. He's heard that for 5 or 6 years now. We'll see on Sunday, because if they come out and the Buffalo Bills shock them, Yes, I agree. The regime will be over. But I've seen way too many games in December in New England as absolute routes. So we'll see how it plays out on Sunday.
Andrei Kovalenko says Pats team total under 29.5 is a good play. Corey Mack predicts a final score of Pats 28-13, only because Josh gets a late
About right.
Go ahead. Yeah, so Corey Mack, predicting a very slight cover by the Pats, but also agreeing with the play on the Pats team total under. So I might tail either or both of those plays by the end of this show. SBR Forum says Brady is losing here. Bills money line easy, an easy money line casher for a 13.5 point dog.
They could pay. That could pay for a lot of Christmas presents cashing that number. So we'll see.
All right, and Sean MCK says Carolina +3 locked. All right, so let's move on. Donnie right side. This is fun. Giants against the Colts. Giants shut out at home last week against Tennessee, and of course the Colts shut out Dallas. 2 straight margin covers for the Colts. Colts are in the playoff hunt. Now, anytime you have a team coming off of getting shut out, going up against a team that's off of a shutout, I'm loath to, again, buy high on an under. But I'm thinking that when you look at this game, the Colts are just going to want to get a win one way or another, get out. I'm not sure they're looking for style points here. It's a high total. I'm thinking about a play with the under. That's what I was thinking, just because the Colts are still in the playoff hunt. They had a good game defensively last week. I'm assuming Beckham is out again. Do we have any info on Beckham? I'm seeing
Odell Beckham is out, as well as Sterling Shepard and also Russell Shepard. So you have nobody to throw the football to this in this game, Pete, for the Giants.
Okay, so what about under? Although we have seen some of these totals crash. The Saturday game in the whatever the hell it was. What was that? Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens total crashed. The under that I just took in the Atlanta Carolina game crashed. This one I'm leaning under. This one has actually moved a point to the over, but I'm leaning under still. What do you think, Donnie?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on the. You know what's interesting about this game, Pete? If I was going to look at totals or unders, I actually like the Indianapolis team total over, Pete, but I like the game as an under. Because if we're going to say come out, we're just going to lean on Saquon Barkley. The Indianapolis Colts have a pretty good defense that you're just not going to run over. And you know where Saquon Barkley really works is if you have a lot of guys on the outside that can create space. Evan Ingram going deep, he's going to play in this game. Sterling Shepard on one side, Odell Beckham on the other side. That opens up a lot. Now you're saying to yourself, all right, Eli Manning, who's already old and doesn't move around, and his arm strength is clearly gone. Who are you actually going to stretch the defense with today so we don't have to load up 7 or 8 in the box just to stop your running game?
No one.
So I like it. I think there's going to be points to score for Indianapolis, and I don't think the Giants are going to return fire, because this is almost one of those games where, yes, the Giants necessarily haven't given up. They thought they could maybe run it to a 500 record and just see what it is. They got embarrassed last week at home, didn't put up much of a fight, and now you're down, your top 3 wide receivers to go into this football game on the road in a must-win game for Indianapolis? Doesn't bode well for the Giants here to say, hey, we're just here to play for pride. What pride do you have when you don't have anybody to play with pride with?
So do you have any explanation then for why the total got bet up from 47 to 48.5 as opposed to bet down from 47 to 45.5, which is what I would expect if the sharps in the market were agreeing with my lean? Go ahead.
I would guess something, Indianapolis, they've shown a propensity where they can score, especially scoring at home. They're a hot offense going on. T.Y. Hilton, no longer a question mark. He's going to play in this game. The Giants don't have a very good defense to begin with, outside of unless you're playing in some, cold, rainy, or windy conditions. You'll be in a dome. There is going to be optimum scoring positions. That's why I think, to me, Pete, Indianapolis is going to be able to score and do whatever they want. So late in that football game, I don't think the Giants, let's just say, Pete, the game is, 27 to 13 or 28 to 13 late in the fourth quarter. What's the point of the Giants going down the field and punching it in to get, their scoring up and get closer and get over the total? I just think this is a clear Indianapolis win and cover, and Indianapolis goes over their team total. But the Giants are just there to play a football game at this point.
So if you're leaning Colts team total over and the under on the game, then you're definitely leaning Colts minus the points, and you're definitely by definition leaning Giants team total under.
Exactly. Yes, you're correct. Over on the team total points for Indianapolis, under on the Giants team total, under on the game team total, and I just think Indianapolis is going to win this football game by double digits.
All right, I'll make the under 48 an official play. I'm leaning towards the Giants team total under as well, and leaning towards taking Indianapolis here. But as of right now, I will take the under 48 minus 108. That's the current line at Pinnacle. Now let's move on to a Tampa Bay Dallas. Tampa Bay barely covered last week against Baltimore. Dallas got shut out after 5 straight ATS wins. It was just kind of a throwaway game for Dallas last week. The Bucs are vulnerable. I have to think Dallas or nothing here at -7. What do you think?
Yeah, I think all the cards are on the table this week. The only thing I was surprised with last week, Pete, is how much Dallas put into that football game, because most of us gave out, the Indianapolis Colts last week. I thought they were in a fantastic spot, and I didn't think Dallas really needed that football game, because from a Dallas perspective, you're saying, all right, we're going out of conference. The Eagles are going to get washed at night anyway, so the division is ours. Well, you end up getting beat on the road, but you also ran your all-world running back into the ground again for no reason. So now you're going to have to suit him up, because the way you're going to want to beat Tampa Bay is feed Zeke again and throw to him out of the backfield. That's maybe going to open up your passing game. But then again, here we go on Tampa Bay, who hasn't quit on the season yet, amazingly. They're getting Deshaun backs in this game. They have a full complement of wide receivers, tight ends. They seem to be playing decent football on offense. The line of 7 seems to be a little bit high here. Do I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this football game? I think they win a little bit closer. I'm going to take the points here with Tampa Bay, just because the simple fact is, are you going to give Zeke the ball 40 times again? You're going to end up killing the guy. Give me Tampa Bay. I think they can hang around in this one.
You think so? And I was thinking about the under, but again, this is another total that went the opposite way of my initial thoughts. It opened at 45.5. Now it's up to 48. Why do you think this line has gotten bet up so high?
I just think you're looking at two sides. The stigma out there, and the stigma usually is correct, where Tampa Bay doesn't stop too many people. So if you're just going to block that front 4 pass rush from Tampa Bay, you should be able to do whatever you want out there. Amari Cooper should be open. Zeke should eat out there. You should move the football. And then you have the boom or bust factor with Jameis Winston. You do have a very good defense for Dallas, but you're going to be throwing it all over the place, which leads to big plays, flags, and turnovers with Winston. So I can see the move up there in the total.
All right, I was leaning under. And let me see. Other comments are coming in. Here you go. Brian Rojas. Giants are going to get blown out. I know my team. 34-17. All right, there you go. Brian Rojas. I'm sorry.
All right.
Go ahead.
No, okay, yeah, I agree with him. Good points right there.
All right. Well, I guess I'll hold off on Tampa Bay, Dallas as well. Next game, Green Bay against the Jets. Packers lost the Bears, of course. They are not doing well, ATS, and the Jets got that push against Houston, or a loss if you got 6.5. I actually think I think my official play was at 7, but I bet it at 6.5, something like that. Should have covered, though. Offensive injuries to both teams. I'm thinking under. I know that Aaron Rodgers is going to play and he's going to try to lead them to a win and this and that. I don't know if he's going to try to run up the score here. I'm thinking it's a relatively close game. It's not a very low total to it's not when you want to tease NFL games, you want to see a total of 41 or lower or something like that. This is up 46.5, but I do lean under anyway, and I don't think if the Packers win, it's going to be a blowout. Maybe the Jets teased up to 8.5. I'm not sure I'd want to take them straight up at plus 2.5, but I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring, close game. Leaning under and thinking about using Jets teased up to 8.5. What's your take on my analysis, Donnie Rightside?
Yeah, I won't probably be playing this game, but if I had to play the game, it would be the New York Jets or nobody to me. I just seem like we've been in this, cycle all year long saying Green Bay is going to get it going. Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay is going to win. They're awful on the road. They're not playing for anything. And again, Aaron Rodgers comes up with another injury. We'll see if he gets some of his offensive line back to protect him in this game. And the Jets are a little bit banged up on defense and also at the running back position. But nothing has shown me there that the Jets are just going to tap out and quit. And I've seen the same movie over and over and over and over of people just, using the Green Bay Packers of over the last, 10 years with Aaron Rodgers say, I'm going to get Aaron Rodgers and it's only 2.5 points. I'll take that every week. If you haven't been watching this year, the defense is really bad for Green Bay. The offensive line is extremely banged up. They have one wide receiver, Devontae Adams, who's a really good wide receiver, and absolutely nothing behind that. Randall Cobb came back, gave him a little bit of spark. He's going to be out again in this football game with a concussion. So it's Aaron Rodgers hobbled. You lost your best running back last week. You're going on the road where you don't have to win it. It means nothing if you do win. The Jets were home last week, played a very game effort versus the Houston Texans. They'll be game in this one as well. It's going to be Jets or nobody for me here, Pete.
All right, so then why? And I was leaning under. It opened at 45.5. Now it's up to 47 at BetOnline. I don't understand that movement either. You have any thoughts on that?
Maybe the Jets just losing a couple linebackers again, and you just have that look at the Green Bay Packers can't stop anyway. Not going to be bad weather conditions, 43, 44 degrees, light wind in the Meadowlands. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I liked it a little bit better when it was at 44, but 47 at this point, that means, Sam Darnold is going to have to go back, toe-to-toe with Rodgers. I just don't see that they have much or care much in this game. I don't really have a great opinion or feel, though, on the over-under, Pete.
On the total. All right. I will. I might be making a mistake here, but I'll add on under 47 minus 110 at BetOnline right now. Under 47 minus 110 at BetOnline. I don't like the line movement that's going against my read on the game, but I'll make it an official play. And again, I might use a Jets in a teaser and an official play teaser in this show, Donnie Rightside, if I can find another side that I want to add on and use. Next game is Minnesota Detroit, and I actually gave Detroit plus 6 as an official play earlier in the week. It's now down to 5.5 at some places. Kobe Valentine, a regular viewer of the show in the Low Shack in the Bag show, likes Detroit. He liked him at 5.5. I'm not sure how much I'm liking him now, though. I think Matt Stafford, it does continue to be hurt. Vikings blasted Miami last week. Now they're going on the road. So do I really want to take, Minnesota laying those points with their offense? Maybe. I mean, the change in offensive coordinator obviously sparked them last week. Is that going to carry over into this week as well? Maybe it will. I was leaning Detroit. That's the only official play I've given so far. Now I'm feeling nervous about it. What's your take on this one, Donnie Rightside?
It's a tough one, yeah, because this is a pretty good mind teaser here because you're looking at a team that Detroit that's based. I mean, I don't want to say giving up because they played tough versus Buffalo, but you go on the road the last 2 weeks. Now you're going to come home. I don't know what type of environment you're going to get to. Minnesota absolutely needs this football game. They're healthy at this point. I know Kendricks is going to miss this game, I believe, with a hamstring injury at middle linebacker, but you do have a little bit of components that go in your direction, Pete, because one thing last week that you were able to do if you're Minnesota is you were able to use your run game versus a really porous run defense in the Miami Dolphins. And it worked out really well. But that game got a little bit hairy. 21-0. Looks like it's going to go to 28-0 before you could blink. It's 21-17 in the third quarter. But they were able to hand the football off and continue to make plays and beat a Dolphins team that was, a little bit run roughshod from that previous win versus the New England Patriots. Fast forward to this week. Since getting Snacks Harrison on that defensive line, Pete, Detroit is able to stymie some decent rush offenses here and keep teams in the game. So if you're going to say, I'm going to put this game on Kirk Cousins, maybe he throws interceptions. Maybe he's not on point because it's not a home game. But I can see your point of view. If you are going to back Detroit at getting 6, Matthew Stafford's going to play. He's going to give an honest effort. But, a couple weeks ago, they buried him under an avalanche of sacks. At least you're getting, I believe, Wagner, the tackle, is going to come back in this football game after missing last week with the concussion. That should help out. I'm not really into betting teams that, under a touchdown that don't really need to win when the other team does. But if you're looking to back the Detroit Lions, they do have some components that can slow down that Minnesota offense.
Yeah. All right. Well, I gave it as an official play. I'm just hoping that Matt Stafford is, healthy enough and motivated enough to keep him in the game. That was already an official pick that I gave in the Low Shack in the Bag show. +6, Lions +6. All right. That's it for the 1 o'clock games. Let's 1 o'clock Eastern time games. Let's check some comments. And then let's move on to the 4 o'clock Eastern time games. Mark Jones says, Minnesota fan, this is too tricky a game. Okay, interesting. Kevin Carter, no weapons for the Lions. Lions team total under. And Nick O says, love this one. Detroit covers if Stafford plays. Antonio Jones says, I just can't trust Detroit this week. And Kevin Carter says the Jets are tougher than the Packers. And I was thinking maybe, now that it's moved up to 3, though, I was thinking maybe Jets teased with Carolina. What about that?
No, it's not bad. It's not bad at all, Pete, because you're taking two tough teams on. They're going to bring both of those teams haven't quit, so you're going to get honest efforts out of those. Yeah, and I like that.
Vitola says, bring in Whale Capper. I believe Whale Capper is not scheduled to be in the show, right? Sorry, Vitola.
He's out tracking earthquakes somewhere.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If you can't have the ones you love the ones you're with, or whatever it is. So Vitola,
yes.
This is what you're getting. Donnie Rightside and me, Peter Loshak, here on the Audible. I know he's like, but I want Jimmy the Bag and I want Whale Capper. Well, you're not getting them. You're not getting them, Vitolas. Thanks for tuning in, Vitolas. I love Vitolas, longtime viewer of the Loshak in the Bag show. All right. 4 o'clock Eastern time games, Rams against Arizona. A huge move to the under on this one. Rams off of 2 losses. Definitely a bounce back spot for the Rams. Definitely Arizona is just a dumpster fire of a team, but I'm not ready to lay 14.5. It's going to be a pass for me as of right now. Donnie Rightside, what do you think?
It should be a get-right game, Pete, for the Rams when you look at it. But here's what doesn't make sense to me overall, because the line movement here, I mean, it was flirting around that 13.5-point range. So all week long early, I was saying, all right, well, Gurley's probably going to get a couple practices in later in the week, and he's the engine that makes the offense go. So now you're seeing the line movement go from 13.5 to 14.5, and I did see some 15s earlier today. But now we're saying, well, Gurley didn't practice all week, and we'll run him around pregame to see if he's eligible. Look, I'm not laying 2 touchdowns regardless versus anybody on the road if my best player that makes my offense go is not going to play in this game. Because Jared Goff should have a good football game, but he hasn't played that well over the past couple weeks. The easiest way you can bail out a team is say, hey, Todd Gurley, I'm going to throw it to you out of the backfield, make a play. I'm going to hand it off, and nobody can stop you behind this offensive line. But if he's going to be out and we're going to say we're going to play C.J. Anderson, who's been in here for a couple hours at running back, and then we're just going to go out and win by 21 on the road, I can't quite back that. If Todd Gurley's healthy, and I know he's playing, I think they dispose of the Arizona Cardinals somewhere in that 31-10, 31-14 range and get the cover. But I'm not laying over 2 touchdowns on the road, Pete, with a gimpy Todd Gurley. I just can't do it.
All right, so it's going to be a pass for you officially then.
Yeah. Yes, but then if I see Sunday, if Todd Gurley starts on Sunday, I would still take him because I think they'll run him. But if it's going to be one of those decoy games where C.J. Anderson's going to have 20 touches out of nowhere off the street, I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. All right, now let's talk about a very interesting game, Chicago-San Francisco, right? Last week, I didn't tweet it out, but I think I realized close to kickoff that San Francisco was probably the right play. I think some people, maybe Jimmy the Bag was on Seattle, I don't remember, but I was thinking that San Francisco was the right play. And, I might be thinking the same thing here. The Bears obviously rolling ATS. They clinched their first division title last week, so a great season for the Bears. San Francisco, though, off of two very nice home wins and covers as an underdog. Same line here as in those two games, getting more than a field goal at home. I think San Francisco might be significantly improving at the end of the season. And as much as I don't want to bet against the Bears right now, I don't really want to bet against San Francisco right now. Before I hear what you have to say about this, Donnie Rightside, if someone gave me a free play right now before I hear your opinion or read any of the comments, I'd throw it on the Niners getting anything over a field goal. What's your take on this one, Donnie?
Love it. I love your ideas, Pete. Mm-hmm. I think you're moving in the right direction here. San Francisco, we've seen this before, right, Pete? Last year, 5-game winning streak to end the season. When they're out of the playoffs, they're still playing hard for the head football coach. Same scenario. You also saw a little carbon copy of this game the previous week. Seattle off a big win, heading down to San Francisco. Yeah. Not a great environment. We're already going to the playoffs. And look what happens in that football game. San Francisco is very game and ends up beating them outright. The same type can be said. Are the Bears, to me, a better team than Seattle? Yes, I think they are. But you saw how hard they partied after the game. Whoa, man, we won the division. Hey, guys, maybe we have a chance to get to the 1 or 2 seed. They have an outside shot, but it's not a lock. They did what they were supposed to do, won the division. Now they're going to fly a couple thousand miles away, down 2 significant starters in the secondary. No quit in the San Francisco 49ers. Mitchell Trubisky's not the type of team or offense that's going to blow you off the field. Right. I think the Niners can keep it close in this one. I think they're in a great spot like last week.
Yeah, I don't trust Trubisky on the road as a favorite, especially after a big win like that. I'm just concerned about after 2 big home wins. You think San Francisco still is going to come in here and say we gotta let's prove to ourselves and our home fans that we can get a win at home. They already got 2 big wins as an underdog at home. You think they are going to be fully motivated to do it again for a 3rd week in a row?
Yeah, I think that's Shanahan's signals. They did it last year. They're going to do it again this year. And they're actually getting healthier as the weeks go by. Yeah. A couple weeks ago, Nick Mullins was starting on the road versus Tampa Bay with absolutely nothing to work with. And now he got baptized by fire back then, and it's looking like the offense is opening up right now. So I think more playmakers and the fact that the Bears, how much motivation do we really have for this football game? I think it plays into it. If you're going to get 4 points or 4.5, whatever it is, I like San Francisco here, Pete.
And what's your take on the total? It is a low total. It's 43. So if you like San Francisco, that means you probably either at least a little bit like the Bears team total under or the Niners team total over. I ask this question all the time. This is the classic Peter Loshak trademarked question. If you like San Francisco and I gave you a free bet on the Niners team total over or the Bears team total under, and by definition, you must like at least one of those, at least a little bit, which would you take, Donnie Rightside?
I think you get a little bit of a hangover. I think the defense is always going to be there playing good football. Khalil Mack, he's going to put pressure on Mullins. I think it's more of a malaise from the offense here saying, well, let's get out there and just see what happens. I think the Chicago Bears team total stays under here, Pete.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking as well. I'd love to get a 24. I don't think you're going to get it. Let me just quickly check Pinnacle right now, but I'm assuming it's 23.5 or maybe even 23. But I would be leaning Bears team total under and Niners plus the points. Let's see. Yeah, the Bears team total under right now would be, almost 24, not quite. 23.5 minus 103. Ooh. But that might be a good play, especially if Trubisky has a quarter or a half where he's just off his game. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead, Donnie. Did you say something?
No, I think you're on the right path. I agree.
I'm going to take the Bears team total under as an official play. It's a little bit tough. And I'm going to search around for a 24 to see if I can find that one afterwards. But I'm going to make that one after the show. But I'll make that one an official play. Nick O likes the under. Andriy Kovalenko says Bears don't care for this game. Chris Tower leans to the under. And Brian Roa says feel good about Niners. Teased up to 10. Yes. Maybe a 3-team teaser. Carolina, Niners, and Jets. All teased up to maybe do a 3-team 10-point teaser, something like that. I'm gonna look at that and look at the prices and maybe tweet that one out. But now we're really thinking. Corey Mack likes Bears 23-21, so he has a lean to the Bears, well, actually, that'd be a lean to the over, but a lean to the Niners covering and a lean to the Bears on the team total under at 23.5. All right, so I've made the Bears an official play on the team total under. Definitely leaning San Francisco +4, though. Now let's talk about Pittsburgh, New Orleans. This is a game that I'm going to stay off of, and this happens to me a lot in my handicapping career, especially in NFL. Whenever there's two teams that I played on with strong plays the week before, one of them was a loser, one of them was a winner, and then they're playing against, they were both winners ATS-wise, but one of them was an ATS winner, one of them was a team that I was betting on, one of the teams I was betting against, and then they play the next week. It's always very tough for me to handicap their next game. Again, as we talked about, I liked Carolina last week against the Saints, and that was a casher. I liked the Steelers last week against the Pats, and of course, they got the win outright. So the Niners coming off an ATS loss, I was on the right side of that. Steelers coming off an ATS win, I was on the right side of that. And this one makes me very nervous. Clearly, the Saints, though, over their past 3 games, have been overvalued ATS. The game against Tampa Bay was a lot closer than the final score indicated. Yeah, they did get a cover, but they needed special teams to get that cover. And then the other 2 games, Dallas, an outright loss as a big road favorite. Same deal with Carolina. Now they're back home. No play on this one for me. What do you think, Donnie?
I like New Orleans here, Pete.
Okay.
I like New Orleans here. And I think it's a great spot for them because they played 3 straight road games, haven't been home in over a month. And whenever you get that home crowd advantage in New Orleans, especially, they're not coming off like 3 straight games at home or back-to-back home games where it was Tampa Bay and Carolina was out of it. This is a monster game down there for a lot of implications. And I'm also feeding this off of another game. So you said, well, what do you mean you're going to feed this off of another game? What I'm anticipating here for us, Pete, is Saturday, a Chargers victory over the Ravens, which will give the Steelers on Sunday a bit of a breather, saying, thank God they lost. Because now if we lose, we get to go home and just take care of business against those Cincinnati Bengals at home when we get James Conner back, and we'll be ready to go into the playoffs with a division victory. That's what I'm banking a little bit of this off of. Secondarily, Teron Armstead is back for this football game, the all-world tackle. He will play. Jarmon Bushrod's not going to play. What a great way to get back your all-world left tackle. Also, Max Unger, who left the game Monday night with a concussion, he's been cleared to play. So they're going to be full go on that offensive line, ready to go against a hellacious pass rush by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, key injury information. James Conner, obviously, we already know is not going to play in this game. Jalen Samuels looked good last week. The Pittsburgh offensive line is really good, a really good front line. Sure. But now you're going to throw into this football game, Pete. Antonio Brown, we know, is going to get his yards and stuff. Late injury, soft tissue stuff like Juju Smith-Schuster went through. Thursday gets hurt, leaves practice. Friday walkthrough, doesn't even participate in the walkthrough. Will he be playing in that football game? Absolutely. He's a gamer. He's going to be tough. But is he playing at 50%, 75%? How many weapons do they actually have now on the outside that you can key on? Let's not forget, Pete, since about week 9, week 10, one of the best defenses in the NFL, along with the Steelers, has been the New Orleans Saints. I just think they're in a good spot here. They can wrap up home field advantage. And I'm also playing it off, as I said again, Saturday night. I like it even more if the Baltimore Ravens go down to the Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Saints win this game by 7 or more points. Get right game for them at home, first time in a month. Clinch it all up, get healthy for the playoffs, and roll on towards the Super Bowl.
Oh, man, that was a vintage Donnie right side breakdown. Strong enough to almost convince me. It just sixes so many points. But yeah, no, great breakdown there, Donnie right side. And people are generally agreeing with you. Brian Rojas says, a good point, Donnie. SBR Forum, who dat? Donnie right. He says Donnie right again. Noob Cybot says Saints bring the wood. Man, Sean MCK, no James Conner, probably no Juju. Saints at home to lock the number 1 seed. Maybe I should tell you. Man, that was a great breakdown, Donnie Rightside. I'll think about that one. Oh, yeah, there you go. SBR Forum, Dome Baby, Saints roll. Up, Anil Frank, Steelers are pass. Steelers can wrap up the division if the Ravens lose. What do you think? Steelers are pass?
No, I like New Orleans there, but I agree with that point. I think the Steelers would be if you're looking to bet the Pittsburgh Steelers, you want the Ravens to win because then the gas gets turned up and the Steelers go, we have to have this game. But I know human emotion that says, boy, when you're in your hotel room on Saturday night watching this game and you go to bed at night as Big Ben and the Ravens took a loss, you're sleeping a lot better knowing when you wake up the next day, hey, no matter what happens today, we're good. That's a tough scenario to be in.
For sure. All right, so that's it for the 4 o'clock games. Once again, I've given some plays here. Houston, team total over. Atlanta, Carolina, under 45. Giants, Indianapolis, under 48. Green Bay Jets, under 47. And the Chicago Bears, team total under. Right now, 23.5 minus 103 at Pinnacle. I feel okay about the picks in general. I don't feel great about any individual pick. Again, leans that I'm just going to go over the leans, and then we'll go into the final two games of the card. Again, leaning over in Baltimore Chargers. Leaning over in Baltimore Chargers. Donnie and I talked about maybe thinking about the Washington team total under if it's 14 or 14.5 at any point. Tampa Bay, Dallas, I don't know. The total's gotten bet up, but I'd be leaning under there. And Donnie Rightside likes Tampa Bay plus the points. Buffalo, New England. Donnie Rightside likes the Pats. I was thinking about Buffalo, and the comments section is definitely split on this one. And maybe the best way to play this one is the Pats on the team total under 29.5. Even some people predicting a Pats cover are also predicting a final score where the Pats would score less than 30 points, which would give a win to a bet on the team total under for New England. Then Atlanta, Carolina. Donnie Rightside, you're leaning Carolina, right?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good spot. I like Carolina.
And I took the under on that one, so I'd be leaning Atlanta, team total under as well. Jacksonville, Miami, I'm going to hold off on that one. Some people are suggesting that Jacksonville has thrown in the towel, but I was thinking that Jacksonville, in this kind of a spot, is when they cover, plus 3.5. Giants, Indianapolis, Donnie Rightside loves Indianapolis here, likes the Giants team total under. Houston, Philly, Donnie Rightside likes the over. I gave Houston team total over as an official play, and I would be leaning over as well. Minnesota, Detroit, I'm on Detroit plus 6. Green Bay Jets, again, thinking about using the Jets in a teaser, and I did take the under. Cleveland against Cincinnati. It's too big of a spread now for Donnie Rightside. Rams, Arizona. Pass for Donnie Rightside, although he does think it's a get-right game for the Rams, and if Gurley's playing, might be looking to take the Rams, even at minus 14. San Francisco, Chicago. Tough game there, and I'm going to play it safe and take the Bears team total under. And then, of course, Pittsburgh, New Orleans. Donnie Rightside likes New Orleans. I don't mean to put words in your mouth. Likes them or loves them. Depending on the result.
There's a lot of love out here, Pete. Let's just go exactly. If the result is right, I absolutely love them. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay. And then Kansas City, Seattle. That's the Sunday night game. KC is a 2.5-point favorite here. Almost no line movement on this one since opening. KC, of course, is off of long rest, though. They played on Thursday night. They're also 0-4-1 ATS over their last 5. Seattle, the polar opposite. They've been killing it ATS. They lost their last game, of course. That was the game at San Francisco. But before that, most weeks cashing ATS week in and week out, and very high stakes here, right? The Chiefs are trying to lock up the AFC West, and Seattle is also trying to clinch a postseason playoff berth. So huge stakes here for this game. Maybe we take a shot with the under. And this is another game. Seattle, when they lose, I mean, it's tough to take a teaser when the total is this high at 54.5 or 55. But when Seattle loses, they don't get blown out. So maybe Seattle on a teaser. I mean, I'm not going to do that with this kind of a total because I could see KC blowing them out. But huge implications here for the playoffs. What's your take on this one, Donnie?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're heading down the stretch. In Seattle, they're at home. It's a tough environment, but you do have some advantages if you're Kansas City. They lost a devastating game, no question about it, but they do have some extra time to prepare and go in and play Seattle on the road. The place is going to be loud. I think there is going to be some points in this game, but it just goes against everything Seattle still, no matter how poorly they played to start the season or what's going on, always a pretty good home team, Pete. 4-1 or 5-1, depending on what line you were shopping with, as a home against the spread. And they're going to be in that same development. It might be one of those games, Pete, where I sit back and watch and say, if I can get the 3, I like Seattle, or it's going to be a pass. I'm not interested a whole lot, Pete, in betting against Seattle at home, especially as an underdog. I know how good Kansas City is. Both their tackles should play in this football game. I get it, but something's a little bit amiss here. You take away Kareem Hunt, a little bit banged up still, wide receiver with Sammy Watkins, not going to play. I'm going to lean towards Seattle here early, Pete. If I can get the 3, I might go ahead and take that as well. But I'm going to wait on a line in this one. But I am leaning towards Seattle here at home. Getting points at home, always a nice proposition when you bet Seattle.
Yeah, it is. But it's just KC's offense is so good. And Seattle, it's like they've had a lot of injuries. Their defense has been decimated by injuries. Maybe it hasn't quite caught up to them yet. Is this maybe a spot at home where we get a shocking result and the injuries on defense finally catch up with Seattle?
Yeah, and maybe they even get somebody back, because I know we're waiting. I mean, obviously Michael Kendricks isn't going to come back, but maybe you get KJ Wright to make an appearance. We'll see about their secondary. But they've just been playing pretty good football. They were in a tough spot last week versus San Diego and came up lame. This is one of those games, Pete, when I liken it to when the Rams came into town, a high-flying offense. Pete Carroll completely flips the script and says, we're going to run RPOs the entire game and read option, and it worked extremely well. They have 3 running backs that can get after Kansas City. They're going to keep this game close, and I think Russell Wilson does enough to make his magic. magic there and to keep the game close and possibly win.
All right, I hear you. So no official pick for you, or your official pick would be Seattle if you can get 3.
There you go. Yes.
Okay. And then the last game on the card, the Monday night game, Denver and Oakland, might be the last game ever for the Raiders in Oakland. Oakland, do they count as a dumpster fire? Maybe yes, although Derek Carr is playing better. Denver counts as a dumpster fire, right? Is that too harsh of a term to use? I would label Denver a dumpster fire right now. Would you not?
No, I would. You bring up a good point, Pete. Not only is the last game in Oakland, it might be the last game that Denver's going to have their head coach as well. So something's got to give here, right?
So I'm looking at this one, and I'm thinking, I'm leaning under. I actually took the under in Oakland's last game, and I got 46. Wound up being a push because it landed on 46. Jimmy the Bag took the over, but he got 45.5, so he got a winner with that one. I was thinking about a shot. I think there's going to be a lot of running for Denver. Leaning Oakland, slight lean to the under, and maybe a bigger lean to the Denver team total under. But I just look at this. I think that I'm seeing fewer negatives with Oakland here. The factor of it being the last home game, possibly the last home game at Oakland, I think does matter, right? Even though the whole world is aware of it, I think it's a factor that we can't throw out and not consider as important. I like the way Derek Carr is playing. I think that Oakland has fewer negatives right now than Denver. And as a home dog, I take Oakland here. What's your take on this one, Donnie?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think Oakland stinks as a team, but let's also factor in that both of these teams are going nowhere, and it's Christmas Eve. So are the Denver Broncos and their families, are they like saying, you know what, let's hurry up and get this game in? How quick can this plane land so I can get back to see my kids on Christmas Day? Yeah. The head coach is going to be fired. He might not even make it back on the plane right here. Not a lot of motivation to go in and play for the Denver Broncos at this point other than playing for pride. In the reports, never good when the reports are already out. Basically, it says, yeah, our organization's already moving on from Vance Joseph as head coach. And have fun out there, Vance, in this football game. Christmas Eve, sleepier environment, last game in Oakland. I don't know how much juice Oakland's going to have even for that, but I'm certainly not laying points with Denver on the road out of the playoffs on Christmas Eve. Oakland are nobody here for me, Pete.
Yeah, see, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking I'm leaning Oakland, maybe leaning under. Maybe the safest play is the Denver team total under, but then you can't ignore the fact that Oakland just has a terrible defense. Is that too strong of a word, Donnie Rightside?
No, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good word for Oakland's defense.
So what would your take on all right, so once again, if you're leaning Oakland, here's my question. If you're leaning Oakland, we gave you a free play on either the Oakland team total over or the Denver team total under, which would you take?
I'm taking the Denver team total under because they just don't play to over. 16 last week, 14 the week before. I mean, I know they're going against the Oakland Raiders, but this offense doesn't say, ooh, big plays all over the field. They want to give it to Lindsey. They want to run the clock. Give me the under team total on Denver, Pete.
All right, let me see if there's any comments coming in that can help me decide here, and then I'll make a final decision on this game. Noob Cybot says Denver season ended last week. They have no motivation to play on Christmas Eve. That's true. Let's see, what else do we have here? Other comments. SPR Forum says the game is going to be watching paint dry. Yes, it could be, but that's a factor that we have to consider. How do you bet games that are like watching paint dry? Do you take the dog? You take the under? We consider all factors like that. Nick O says Raiders and Cardinals are competing for a first-round draft pick. Do you think that the Raiders want to lose here, or do you think because it's potentially the last home game that trumps their draft status or their potential draft status?
No, I think they'll play it pretty close here, Oakland. I mean, I know they would, the preference deep down would probably not to win, but if you take a look at the last 3 games, Pete played Kansas City, 40-33, hung in there. Pittsburgh Steelers beat them 24-21. Had a tough time going to Cincinnati in one of those blah games, but they're coming home. It's Christmas Eve. Maybe they get excited because it's national TV. I think they'll give an honest effort in this one. I just don't know where the effort level for the Denver Broncos is going to be.
All right. On the other hand, someone named The Blunt Truth says Denver easy. I'd be interested to hear why he thinks Denver as a 3-point road favorite is easy. Denver easy. And then Nick O says Raiders are being sued by the city of Oakland. What are the Raiders playing for? Well, they're playing for the enthusiasm of the fans who will be in attendance, right?
They're playing for the guy in the shoulder pads with the spikes in the black hole, Pete. That's who they're playing for.
All right. I'm definitely leaning Oakland plus the points, and I'm thinking about taking the Denver team total under, but I'll hold off for now on an official play there. My only official plays so far: Houston team total over, Atlanta, Carolina under 45, Giants, Colts under 48, Green Bay Jets under 47, Chicago Bears team total under, and I already gave Detroit plus 6 earlier in the week. Donnie Rightside, if we had to pin you down on a few official plays before we wrap up this show, what would they be from the entire card?
Yeah, let's go with a couple of them here. I started, I really like that Tampa Bay game. You're not going to get the 7.5. That's Brett's gone, but we'll take the 7 with Tampa Bay. I think they can be a game team here on the road in this type of environment. I also like, obviously, I like the New England Patriots to win that game by 2 touchdowns or more. Also, as you know, I do like the New Orleans Saints as well. If we're taking a look at maybe some off-the-grid type plays, I think the Houston and the Philadelphia Eagles total, I believe that goes over the 46 in that environment. And then I'll lean on Indianapolis, Pete. Seems like a high number. They haven't given up. 9.5 is pretty deep, but you saw last week a much better Dallas Cowboys team come in and play them. They played a great football game. Indianapolis needs this game. I think the Giants will struggle to score. So therefore, Pete, 10 doesn't look too bad. As long as Indianapolis can get into the mid to high 20s, I think they cover that game as well. We'll go with those.
Sounds great, Donnie Rightside. And on that note, let's wrap up the show. This has been the Audible for NFL Week 16, Friday edition, December 21st. Donnie Rightside, had a great time breaking down this card with you. Hopefully we'll do it again very soon.
Awesome, Pete. Thanks for pinching in and coming up big once again. Hopefully your family and everybody down there at SBR has a great holiday season. We'll carry it in, people. Most importantly, let's cash those tickets. Man, appreciate it, man. It's been a lot of fun.